Welcome to A Moment of Zen. Time to sit back and relax as model, actress, mentor, and supermom Zen Sams takes you on a sexy and wild ride, covering the latest in film, fashion, pop culture, cryptocurrency, fintech, cannabis, and entertainment from the millennial mom's perspective. Here's your host, Zen Sams.
Hello, my beautiful tri-state area. Welcome to our 139th episode. It's always such a pleasure to spend my time with you on the airwaves. Thank you for listening and interacting with me on social media. That truly does make it all worthwhile. Please make sure to follow me at Zen Sams. That's Zen with an X, not a Z. Also remember that we're live on Traverse TV Sundays at 1 p.m. Eastern. All episodes of A Moment of Zen streamed 24/7 on Kathy Ireland's Your Home TV. That's free programming to you, and you can always find us on our YouTube channel. We have such an exciting show lined up for you today. In our Hydration with Heart segment, brought to you by Once Upon a Coconut, we're featuring the incredible Carmindy, a New York-based editorial makeup artist, beauty, TV personality, and author. She joins me today to chat clean beauty and the importance of hydration. She's here to break it all down the clean and honest way. In our Scandals segment, featuring Imran Ansari of Aidala, Bertuna, Kamins, otherwise known as ABK Law, right here in New York City. Imran is a regular contributor and legal analyst on law and crime. Today, we're chatting about the latest development on Bryan Kohberger and the Idaho murders. In our Going Deep segment, brought to you by CO2 Lift, today I'm joined by Savannah Boda, a licensed medical esthetician and acne specialist based in Dallas, Texas. She has a cult following of over 250,000 followers on Instagram. She's a beauty influencer who goes by the handle The Dallas Esthetician. She joins me today to chat combo therapy and why no single solo method is an effective approach to skincare. In America's favorite pharmacist segment, brought to you by BuyOptimizers.com, we have pharmaceutical expert Phil Kaylee covering all things sleep. He'll chat common disorders and the simple and quick fixes available to you over the counter. Stay tuned for our Hydration with Heart segment, brought to you by Once Upon a Coconut, featuring Carmindy, New York-based editorial makeup artist. She's here to chat clean beauty and the importance of hydration. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Once Upon a Coconut, 100% pure coconut water. Imagine a drink that's nutrient-rich, powerfully refreshing, naturally sweet with no added sugars, not from concentrate, zero additives, low in calories, absolutely no artificial flavors, and is so tasty that it will become your new favorite beverage. Enter Once Upon a Coconut, the absolute best tasting coconut water you will ever try. Available in 4 refreshing flavors: pure, chocolate, pineapple, and sparkling with energy. Do your taste buds a favor and pick up some today at onceuponacoconut.com.
Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Up next in our Hydration with Heart segment, brought to you by Once Upon a Coconut, we're featuring Carmindy, a New York-based editorial makeup artist, beauty, TV personality, author, speaker, and entrepreneur. Her work has been published in Allure, Elle, In Style, Bazaar, Condé Nast Traveler, Town and Cat Country, and that's just to name a few. For over a decade, millions of viewers have counted on her to teach them her insider makeup tips and tricks on TLC's hit show, What Not to Wear. She's now founder of Carmindy Beauty, a streamlined collection of affordable color cosmetics for everyone. She's known for her universal 5-minute face technique and delivers the natural look alternative. She joins me today to chat clean beauty and the importance of hydration. Now, according to a report by the NPD Group, some 68% of consumers say they're looking for skincare brands that highlight clean ingredients. The concept of so-called clean beauty, makeup, and skincare products marketed as free of harmful artificial ingredients is the latest catchphrase in a world of products sold as sustainable, environmentally conscious, or simply safer. Here to break it all down for us, the clean and honest way, is Carmindy. Welcome to the show, Stunner.
Thank you for having me. So exciting.
Thank you so much. So let's chat career, journey, and inspiration behind everything for you. So could you share with us your journey in the beauty industry and what inspired you to become a makeup artist? on what were some of the pivotal moments, I'd like to know, in your career that led you to where you are today?
Absolutely. Well, when I was about 15 years old, growing up in Southern California, my mother was a watercolorist, and I was obsessed with that sheer way of working with art. And I got into makeup at a very age, and looking at those magazines of like models jumping on the beaches, I'm like, how can I parlay my love of this clean looking beauty in art and bring it into fashion? So I started as a teenager tearing out magazines and practicing on my friends, and then working at makeup counters and in studios. So that's how it really began. And then moved my way to Europe, Miami, New York, and became an editorial makeup artist in the fashion industry with that same technique of less is more, kind of the natural watercolor look alternative to makeup. And that's how I began.
I love that editorial, those tear sheets. They all it brings it back all the time because I come from that world. I used to be signed to Elite New York when I started back in
Yeah.
the day, but it was great to just be able to see the art that you're shooting now translate on print, and it was
Yes.
just so beautiful. And you're right, less is more. Now, your experience on what not to wear, let's chat that. What were some of the most rewarding experiences you had while working on TLC's What Not to Wear? And how did your time on the show influence your approach to beauty and makeup?
Well, it was actually the most pivotal moment in my career because at the time, reality shows were very new. And when I was cast to be the makeup artist on What Not to Wear, most people in the fashion industry said, "Oh, you're going to ruin your career. It's reality TV." I saw it differently. I saw it as a way to get everyday women that were not in the fashion bubbles that we were living in, to have the opportunity to learn how to look and feel their very best in a very clean, natural look. And since that's what I was known for, it wasn't fair for me just to be working on models and celebrities and not being able to share my knowledge with everyone. So this gave me a platform to be able to work with the woman surviving breast cancer, work with the girl who had just lost 50 pounds or just went through a divorce and was getting back in the dating scene, recent retirees. These people needed the tools also to look and feel amazing. So I was able to offer that to them. And I realized that there was a common thread. They didn't have a lot of time. Lots of them didn't have a lot of money, and they wanted to look good fast. And that's when I created the whole 5-minute face technique.
What a beautiful story. And Carmindy Beauty was born in entrepreneurship. Let's chat that. So, what motivated you to start Carmindy Beauty, and how does it reflect your personal philosophy on makeup? Was it these beautiful stories coming to life that you were able to tell? What was the true motivation behind your roadmap?
Well, because I'm an artist, I've looked at women and beauty differently. So I never looked at a face and said, here's what you have to change or contour to look like a set standard of what beauty is. There is no such thing as a set standard. I look at women like flowers. There's daffodils and daisies and cactus roses, and they're all unique and all special and all beautiful. So I use makeup to enhance what's uniquely yours so you can celebrate your skin, your face, and who you are naturally. So it's a different approach than what kind of is trending in the last 10 years, which is bake it, contour it, fix it. I look at women as so special, enhance it. Don't change it. So that's why the 5-minute face was created, because it actually stems from scientific research of when a woman looks her most beautiful is when she's in love. So 5 things happen. Her skin glows because she's radiant, because she's in love. Her eyes capture attention because she's trying to get her suitor. And then her cheeks flush on a cellular level because she's blushing. And then her lips get engorged with blood because she wants to make out. So I created highlighter, liner, mascara, cheek, and lip, all universal shades that work on all skin tones, all skin types, all ages. And it's the quickest way to look amazing in 5 minutes.
Well, that 5-minute face technique explained in under 5 minutes definitely has me sold. That is why it is so popular. Now, what are your top tips for achieving a natural look in a short amount of time?
Definitely keep your skin on point. So this goes to the hydration point. You want to make sure that you have not only a diligent skincare routine topically, but you need to take care of what's going inside your body. And hydration is a must. It's funny, I do these beauty tip of the days, and I did one once with a celebrity who said, I just drink water all day long. So anything that's going to keep your skin looking hydrated even more than just water, like coconut water, like magnesium powders, anything you can do internally, taking the right supplements, collagen, all of these things are key. That is the first thing, because if your skin doesn't look good, any makeup you put on top is really not going to, do it justice when you know that you can work from the inside out. So definitely the skincare and hydration key. Second thing is, you can't leave without mascara. Mascara just frames the face. And my I Got You mascara was developed as a way of no smudging, no budging, but easy to take off. It's a tube technology, because nobody wants to put on mascara and then have it be waterproof and chisel it off at night. You want to be able to just wash your face and have it slip right off. So I would say mascara is another one. Also, as we get older, you need to have a sheer liquid foundation that goes on to not erase your face, but just to kind of even out and polish your complexion. So that's really key. And then always sunscreen. Sunscreen is an absolute must.
I love your tips. I'm gonna piggyback off the hydration. That's key for me. And when we talk about Once Upon a Coconut and why that brand has taken off as quickly and successfully as it has, is because when you look at what their product is, it speaks to so many different levels. It speaks to consumers on a health level. It speaks to consumers on a taste, feel good level, and they also speak to consumers on a socially active level. So as a mom, I love the coconut water because it's truly proprietary in specifically the health benefits. You have potassium and calcium and magnesium, and those are all the electrolytes that play important roles in helping maintain heart health, liver and kidney health, digestive functions, healthy blood sugar levels, muscle and nerve functions, and just so much more. So I specifically started drinking it after I was dealing with thyroid cancer and thyroid disease, but I typically use it as a cure-all for everything. What
Yes.
why do you believe that Once Upon a Coconut has taken off as fast as it has?
Well, I think that, like you said, the approach of what the ingredients are inside of their coconut, being natural, being clean, but then also the fact that they made it fun with the branding. So many coconut waters are just kind of like, okay, it's like they put coconut water into a box, and it just wasn't exciting, it wasn't fun. But they have fun with their branding. They make it all inclusive. It's new, it's innovative, but it's also good for you. So I think that that's really key.
You're right. And let's go back to the key points we're trying to make here. Clean, sustainable. So consumers should also know natural doesn't automatically mean better or safer. Ingredients such as essential oils can trigger allergic reactions,
That's right.
especially for those with sensitive skin. And in terms of a brand's mission, it should always be to honor people by doing what's best for their health, their skin, their budget, and the world around them with the products that should really truly be powerful, natural, sustainable, and simple. Talk to me. How important is hydration in a beauty routine? And what are your favorite hydrating products or ingredients since we're talking about coconut water?
Definitely believe that when it comes to creating a beauty line, sometimes if everything is completely clean and totally vegan and completely organic, like you said, people can tend to have a allergic reaction, just like they can to anything that's synthetic. There's also a lot of synthetics that are perfectly safe out there. So what I like to focus on is look for the dirty dozen, is what it's called. If you and most companies and most beauty stores, they make sure that they have a clean standard where that dirty dozen is taken out, and make sure that your products don't have that dirty dozen in there. My favorite hydrating product is my Lit from Within Daily Skin Prep. This is something that you put on for hydration. It illuminates the skin, and it creates this smooth, kind of glowy appearance, so that when you put your makeup on, it glides right on. So it's like a daily primer, but most primers can be chalky and opaque and dry. This is super luminous and hydrating. So if you choose not to wear any makeup at all, your skin is going to look plump and supple. Another ingredient that I find in a lot of skincare you want to look for is hyaluronic acid. This is a word I'm sure you've been hearing and reading about, but it truly is kind of a game changer when it comes to your skin because it really penetrates the skin's barrier and keeps your skin moist for a longer period of time.
You're so full of knowledge. I love it. Smart and on your game. Now let's chat impact of media on beauty standards. So, having worked in media for many years, how do you think it has influenced societal beauty standards?
I think it's very shocking that as advanced as we've become as women, the more insecure we're becoming because of what we're seeing on social media in terms of everybody has to look like a cloned version of one another. That is the probably most disheartening thing for me, especially one who celebrates beauty in all of its forms. We are now starting to see a trend back to natural, thank God, because it was going on for too long where if you didn't look like this certain, carbon copy, then and every makeup brand was kind of catering to that, then you didn't fit in. And now you're seeing people be able to celebrate being their individual selves and picking and choosing what trends that they want to play with without having to go full Monty on it.
It's all about living your truth and feeling comfortable in your skin and having cheerleaders like you, my dear, propel the people that you work with and the females that you uplift. So thank you for being you. We have 1 minute left. Let's chat future projects and aspirations. What are your aspirations for the future, both for Carmindy Beauty and your career as a whole?
Well, what I realized after years of being, a product developer is that there's no reason to have expensive beauty brands out there when I know that if the formula is good, you can save on the packaging to be sustainable. You don't have secondary packaging. Get rid of the box. When was the last time you took out a mascara and then put it back in the box it came in, right? It just gets thrown in the trash. So I've able to get Carmody Beauty at a price point that's affordable for everyone. And we're launching on Amazon in just a few weeks. So that is really exciting. And then we're going to grow the brand from there.
And I love it that you didn't compromise the quality of the ingredients, but you compromised the exterior shell, which to your point, nobody cares about that box. And if you're going to try to save for your bottom line, that means that we're saving on our bottom line when it's in retail. So thank you for being conscious of not only the environment, but also your consumers' bottom line.
Yes, exactly. I think it's so important. That's what everything you see out there is so expensive. It doesn't need to be because I know what goes inside and I know what you're really paying for, which is box and packaging.
Well, thank you so much for your honesty. We are out of time. I can't thank you enough for coming on and chatting with us today.
It was wonderful. Thanks for having me.
Without a doubt. That was our Hydration with Heart segment brought to you by Once Upon a Coconut. That was the awesome Carmindy. She's a New York based editorial makeup artist, a beauty lifestyle expert, a TV personality, an author, a speaker. What isn't she? She's very impressive, is what she is. You can definitely check her out on the gram at Carmindy Beauty. You could head directly to her website at carmindybeauty.com. And do check out Once Upon a Coconut. You could head directly to onceuponacoconut.com. Imagine a drink that's nutrient rich, powerfully refreshing, naturally sweet with no added sugars, not from concentrate, zero additives, low in calories, absolutely no artificial flavors, and is so tasty that it will become your new favorite beverage. Once Upon a Coconut is available in 4 refreshing flavors. They have pure chocolate, pineapple, and sparkling with energy. Do your taste buds a favor and pick up some today. Head to onceuponacoconut.com. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Once Upon a Coconut, 100% pure coconut water. Imagine a drink that's nutrient rich, powerfully refreshing, naturally sweet with no added sugars, not from concentrate, zero additives, low in calories, absolutely no artificial flavors, and is so tasty that it will become your new favorite beverage. Enter Once Upon a Coconut, the absolute best tasting coconut water you will ever try. Available in 4 refreshing flavors: pure, chocolate, pineapple, and sparkling with energy. Do your taste buds a favor and pick up some today at onceuponacoconut.com.
Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Up next in just a few minutes, we have the Scandals segment featuring Imran Ansari of Aidala, Bertuna, Kamins, otherwise known as ABK Law, right here in New York City. Imran is a regular contributor and legal analyst on law and crime. Today, we're chatting about the latest development on Bryan Kohberger and the Idaho murders. Now, Bryan Kohberger has been charged with first-degree murder and burglary for the killings of 4 University of Idaho students. Roommates Xana, Kaylee, and Madison, as well as Xana's boyfriend Ethan, were all stabbed to death in the girls' homes on November 13th of 2022. Two other roommates, Bethany and Dylan, survived the attack. Bryan, who just turned 29, was studying for a PhD in criminology at the neighboring Washington State University at the time of the crime. He has a master's degree in criminal justice, interestingly enough, from DeSales University in Pennsylvania. He declined to enter a plea in his arraignment in May. The judge entered a not guilty plea on his behalf on 4 charges of first-degree murder and another on felony burglary. He could face death by firing squad if convicted. Authorities zeroed in on him in part by comparing DNA found at the crime scene with DNA of a relative of Kohberger's, known to be his dad, apparently obtained from the family's home trash. DNA analysis is a revolution in forensics, but like every form of scientific evidence, it has the potential for error. At its best, DNA testing can tell you whose genes were found in a particular location, but it can't tell you how they got there. An innocent person's DNA might be found at a crime scene because they brushed against the victim on the street, used the same doorknob as the perpetrator, or dropped a cigarette butt nearby. Very difficult to pin down. Here to chat Idaho murders and where this case is heading is the amazing Imran Ansari. Welcome back, superstar.
Thanks for having me, Zen. Good to be back.
Okay, my question is, how are they going to put this guy away with no motive nor even a murder weapon at this point?
Zen, it's all going to be relying on forensic evidence. This is a circumstantial case, which is relying on heavily the forensic evidence that was collected both at the scene and then, of course, in Pennsylvania at the family residence of the Kohbergers, which ultimately law enforcement used to link Bryan Kohberger vis-a-vis his DNA with this crime. There's also going to be surveillance camera footage regarding that white car that Kohberger was driving and where the location was of that vehicle in relation to the crime scene. So it's going to be heavily reliant on that forensic evidence. And when you have a case that's reliant for the prosecution on forensic evidence, what does that mean for the defense? That means to attack that forensic evidence, try to get it excluded at the trial. And we know that the defense is doing that right now in motions before the court. And if you're able to do that, then you're able to put on a defense. But the prosecution is going to be saying, no way, we have the forensic evidence. It was properly collected, and it links Bryan Kohberger with these crimes.
Horrific crime. So last year, November, this guy breaks into the house, presumably about a mile from the University of Idaho, and stabs these 4 students. Then he walks past the stunned surviving roommate and just leaves. And by the time police arrived, Kaylee and Madison, the 2 21-year-old best friends, and Ethan and Xana, the 2 20-year-olds, who were dating, were dead. So early on in the investigation, the Moscow Police Department became interested in that car you mentioned, the white Hyundai Elantra. That surveillance footage does, they did capture near the house that morning. But the big question is, do you think he did it? And is this evidence at hand enough to actually put him away?
So Zen, of course, I'm going to go rely on my lawyerly sort of answer to this question here, right? Of course, there's still allegations, and Bryan Kohberger enjoys the presumption of innocence until it's proven in a court of law that he is guilty of these crimes, or if he pleads guilty to the crimes that he's charged with. Did he do it? Well, that's going to be the prosecution's job to prove before that jury. Of course, the prosecution is alleging that Bryan Kohberger is the murderer and he was behind the horrific slayings of these 4 college students. And the defense is going to be saying, no, the evidence doesn't lend itself to proof beyond a reasonable doubt that Bryan Kohberger committed these murders. Ultimately, it's the prosecution's job to prove the case beyond a reasonable doubt. But if they're able to link Bryan Kohberger forensically to certain pieces of evidence that are collected at the scene, at Bryan Kohberger's house, the DNA hit that they had, well, then they're going to have a stronger case to put before that jury. Of course, a very emotional case then. You have 4 lives that were lost, and there's a lot of mystery behind this murder. You mentioned the roommates who were surviving, who survived this burglary and the crime committed in that house. And it's very intriguing, mysterious, and tragic all at the same time.
Extremely tragic. I'm going to talk about the party house in just a second, but let's go back to a recent development that was just announced in the media. Idaho District Judge John Judge, who is overseeing the quadruple murder case against Kohberger, granted the defendant's request to remove media cameras from the courtroom. However, he said the proceedings will still be streamed by the court. It is the intense focus on Kohberger and his every move, along with adverse headlines and news articles, that leads the court to conclude that continued photograph and video coverage inside the courtroom by the media should no longer be permitted. Imran, why are they allowing this to be live streamed, and is it customary?
Because the public generally has a right to access to trials. And it is one of the really sacred aspects of our justice system here in the United States that the public has a right to be present at a trial, has a right to be present and see and hear the testimony and evidence in a trial, like a criminal trial like this or a civil trial, what have you. There are, of course, certain circumstances where a judge will close the courtroom to protect, say, like the identity of a minor who may be testifying about abuse or something like that. But generally, there's a right to access for the public. So what the judge is doing here in his discretion as a judge is balancing Bryan Kohberger's right to a fair trial and also the access of the public to be able to see what is going on in this trial. And in his discretion, in his determination, he found that having, say, private media companies and outlets with their cameras in the courtroom would be disruptive. It would be focused primarily on Bryan Kohberger rather than the court in general. So now he has decided that the public's going to be able to see what's going on with this trial. They'll be able to hear the evidence, see the evidence, hear the testimony, but they're going to do it via this live stream, which is controlled by the court rather than, say, a slew of cameras for the media.
There you go. The bottom line is they want to control the narrative and they want to keep this contained, and they don't want this to turn into a media frenzy, which I totally agree with. So Imran, Kohberger is accused of prowling around the home at least 12 times before November 13th of last year. It still doesn't answer the question of how he knew these girls, and that's the big mystery. So theoretically, Bryan could use the party house status of this grisly murder scene to explain why his DNA was found there. And one of the most important parts of this case is that DNA. And what we know is that this was a party house. We know that there were hundreds of kids in this house, and it could have even included him. And the thing is, if he was in this house, do we assume that these four students knew everybody who'd been there? I doubt that. Now, all of a sudden, you might have a completely different trial. What do you say to this?
Yeah, and that would be a point that the defense would want to try to argue to the jury, is that there was a lot of people coming in and out of this house. And again, it goes to the forensic aspect. If they're able to attack the forensic evidence linking Bryan Kohberger to the crime scene, well, then the prosecution's case is going to become weaker and weaker. And if they're able to give a plausible explanation, of course, the defendant enjoys the right to remain silent even in the courtroom. They don't have to prove anything, right? But if they're able to put out a narrative to that jury, meaning the defense team, that, you know, the reason why Bryan Kohberger's DNA or what have you, maybe at the location, was because there were parties there and maybe Bryan Kohberger went to the party. I mean, there's a lot of scenarios that you can put out there, but that would be the benefit of the defense if they're able to get that across to the jury. And the prosecution knows that, and they're going to have to really put their case together in a way which proves their case beyond a reasonable doubt to that jury. And they're going to have to really anticipate all those attacks by the defense about the party house aspect, about, you know, the fact that trace DNA could have been brought in there by some other means. And I'm sure the prosecution is getting ready to answer those sort of rebuttal arguments as we speak, as they prepare their case.
Ugh, this is going to be so tough. I could see it play out right now. Now, the knife sheath, which was later found to have Kohberger's DNA on it, was found by police alongside the bodies of Kaylee and Madison and Xana and Ethan. And Kohberger's defense team could use the victim's inability to keep tabs on who's who to plant the theory that Brian's DNA was, to your point, brought into that home before that quadruple murder. I mean, there's a neighbor, Jeremy Regan. He confirmed to Court TV, which you are very familiar with, that there were constantly people in and out of the home. He said hundreds. So the question is, how do you tie him to the murder at this point, right? So it becomes complicated, right?
Yeah, all that forensic evidence, then it's obviously going to be the testimony of law enforcement, the testimony of witnesses who were, at the parties or around the scene, sort of give some narrative and support to the prosecution's version of events. But really, it's a circumstantial case. No one saw Bryan Kohberger in that house. No one saw Bryan Kohberger with the knife in his hand. When you have a circumstantial case like that, prosecution is going to be relying again on the forensic evidence, and it's like it's connecting the dots of a puzzle. Then, if they're able to connect all the dots and really make out their case before that jury, then they have a good chance of getting a conviction. If there is even a scintilla, a sliver of reasonable doubt that the defense is going to argue, then you know what? The jury has to say not guilty, because any reasonable doubt is enough to get an acquittal at trial.
The thought that this guy can even I can't even fathom the thought that he could get off. But technicalities are technicalities. Now, the footprint found inside the home could obviously help police build their case beyond the initial probable cause affidavit, because however, I don't know, I mean, its value may depend on what else detectives find with a series of these search warrants following this arrest. But it's more than 2,500 miles from the crime scene. I mean, there's a lot of territory to cover there. So, I mean, in a probable cause affidavit released, investigators revealed that shoe print found at the crime scene had a sole pattern that resembled that of a Vans sneaker. How important is this shoe print?
Again, it's one piece of the puzzle. And if they're able to use that shoe print and that evidence to, again, add to that argument and to their sort of ammo box of evidence against Bryan Kohberger, that there's a match there, and Bryan Kohberger had a Vans sneaker like that, same size, same treading, and all that. If they're able to really convince the jury that that was also a piece of evidence that you can link Bryan Kohberger to these murders, and couple that with the DNA evidence, couple that with all the other evidence regarding his vehicle, then again, prosecution has a stronger case. Whereas if the defense are able to say, really, Vans sneakers, how many Vans sneakers are being sold in the United States on a given day, even, and this doesn't conclusively mean anything that Bryan Kohberger was there and there's a match. These are going to be the competing arguments and, based on the evidence coming into court. And ultimately, at the end of the day, it's going to be the jury's hard decision to evaluate that evidence, deliberate amongst themselves, and render their verdict.
This is a tough one, Imran. This is a tough one. What are your final predictions?
So, I mean, we're looking at a trial later this year. Well, I would say 2024, Zen. Most likely fall. It could still get postponed if there's more arguments or motions made attacking the evidence by the defense. But we're all going to have our eyes on that courtroom, and whether the prosecution has enough evidence circumstantially and forensically to get a conviction. It does, at the end of the day, 4 lives were lost, young lives were lost, really tragic case. And I think when you have a tragedy like that, you have all eyes on the courtroom, and you want to have a determination which is just and fair. So we'll see how the prosecution can put their case together. And of course, keep our eyes on what arguments the defense are going to be making on behalf of Bryan Kohberger.
Thank you so much. Well said, my friend. It's always a pleasure having you on. Your insight is invaluable, and I love chatting with you. You lay it out so nicely. Play devil's advocate when you're supposed to, and you don't when you don't. Thank you so much for coming on.
All right. Thank you, Zen. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Kohberger faces 4 counts of first-degree murder and a felony burglary charge for allegedly entering the house with the intent to kill, and authorities have not publicly disclosed a potential motive as of yet. That was our scandals segment, and that was the incredible Imran Ansari. You could check him out directly on the gram at Imran Ansari ESQ, or you could head directly to their website at idalalaw.com. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by CO2 Lift. As we age, our skin loses moisture and elasticity, causing wrinkled skin. You can reverse this aging process with CO2 Lift. CO2 Lift utilizes the powerful benefits of carbon dioxide to lift, tighten, and regenerate your skin. This simple, painless at-home carboxytherapy treatment is scientifically proven to reverse the aging process. You will see reduction in wrinkles, increase in luminosity, and improve pigmentation, sagging, skin tone, and radiance. For more information or to order CO2 Lift, go to co2lift.com.
Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Up in just a few minutes in our Going Deep segment brought to you by CO2 Lift. Today, I'm joined by the awesome Xana Boda, a licensed medical esthetician and acne specialist based in Dallas, Texas, with a cult following of over 250,000 on Instagram. Xana is the founder and owner of Xana Boda Aesthetics, which is a medical spa that focuses on ethically driven aesthetic results. She's a beauty influencer who goes by the handle at the Dallas Esthetician. She's an ambassador for Skin Pen and Face Reality, Bio Real Peel, and BioJuve. That's just to name a few. You can listen to her on her podcast, The Blondest, where she talks about skincare, business, motherhood, and everything in between. Today, she joins me to chat carboxytherapy and why carboxytherapy is part of the bigger picture of something called combo therapy, and why no single solo method is an effective approach to skincare. A one-size-fits-all approach, whether it's for anti-aging treatments or body contouring treatments, is no longer the norm. Most clients often want to correct the combination of concerns ranging from wrinkles, saggy skin, and unwanted fat to sunspots, veins, and hollows from lost collagen. No one treatment can provide a client with a solution for multiple concerns. So, for example, a dermal filler is an excellent solution for treating volume loss, but it's not going to improve the appearance of sunspots. Aidala, for instance, will reduce unwanted chin fat, but it's not going to improve sagging skin. So, what is there to do? Well, since utilizing only one mode of treatment may not address all signs of aging, the solution is combination therapy. And this approach makes the possibilities basically endless and the results dramatic. And the combination of treatment can be customized to address your specific concerns. Don't take it from me, take it from the expert at hand. Welcoming now to the show is my beauty expert, Xana Boda. Welcome to the show, Stunner.
How are you guys? I'm excited to be here.
So excited to have you on, Xana. So you are an advisory board member of the National Aesthetic Spa Network and an in-house esthetician for Dermoscope magazine. Many value you, and they should, as an educator in skincare. So when you're not working with clients, I'm to my understanding, you're speaking at trade shows and mentoring other estheticians. Your passion is clearly educating others on skincare, whether it's in clinic or social media or at conferences. What did being voted 2023 Esthetician of the Year mean to your career?
It was amazing. I truly just never expected to be named that. And honestly, it's been such a long journey in the industry. And I just really am glad that estheticians are now being able to be recognized and get that platform, because for the longest time, dermatologists were the go-to for everything skin needs. And I think estheticians now are really the forefront of the industry and showing that we can work together as a unit. And it's not just like the dermatologists versus the estheticians, that we really all can come together and give those clients the best experience and treatments possible.
And you're doing exactly that, paving the way. You've gone where there was no path and are leaving a great big trail, my dear. And now technology and innovation are contributing to the evolution of combo therapy, what we call in the skin industry. And being up to date with the latest advancements is critical. And I know you're always up to date. So carboxytherapy is a treatment that's been around since the 1930s, though the method of delivery has in fact improved since then with a gel delivery system called CO2 Lift. Xana, what are some examples of skincare treatments or procedures that are commonly combined in what we call combo therapy, and what benefits do they offer over single methods?
So yeah, I like to use my carboxytherapy with literally everything. Yesterday actually was the first day we've had every single client. I do about 13 clients a day that have done the CO2 lift mask. They wanted to add it on because what it's going to do is just help enhance those results increase the skin's hydration, help reduce redness and downtime. So combo therapy, I like to do it with lasers, microneedling, even after chemical peels. It's just really makes such a big difference in the aftercare. And I think that's the biggest thing. A lot of people are so concerned about downtime, especially with social media. Even if you work from home, you have to be on Zoom, you have to see people still. So it's really, really important for patients to have that downtime cut in half. So that's really how I've been utilizing the carboxy therapy in my clinic and really helping enhance those procedures and results. And I also stack so many other modalities. I'll do microneedling with lasers, dermaplaning can be added on to pretty much any procedure that you do in the beauty space. So there are so many things that can just maximize your results. I like to call it treatment stacking. So there are times where I'll stack 3 different modalities in one treatment, and clients are just getting the most bang for their buck and loving those results.
And that's why you were voted Esthetician of the Year, because you know your stuff. And when we talk about medical monotherapies, CO2 Lift Pro is very, very effective. It's great for severely dry skin or itchy skin, for the speedy recovery and healing of wounds. It also increases blood flow. So that's a great added value to that CO2 Lift carboxy therapy. But it's also great as an aesthetic, to your point, as an aesthetic monotherapy. So for those fine lines and wrinkles, the creepy skin, the dark circles, the inflamed skin, the textural imbalances, the enlarged pores. That's what, for me, it was the enlarged pores. What a game changer this product was. Now, how does CO2 Lift, Savannah, matter and fit into the roadmap of a procedure? And why does healthy skin respond better?
So when your skin is healthy, it's going to receive the treatments better. It's going to perform better. It's going to heal better. So I always like to say it's basically like if you're taking care of your body, right, and you're eating healthy, and then you go work out, you're going to see better results. Same thing. If you start with healthy skin and then you go do that procedure like working out, you're just going to get a better outcome. So truly prepping that skin, priming that skin, and having a healthy barrier before you're doing these procedures is going to enhance your results, make your downtime so much less, and just help that skin heal better. So for me, I like to use this. You can prep with the patient. Like if they're numbing, they can actually do it on top of numbing cream, just to really help hydrate that skin whenever you're about to do an ablative laser, or if you're about to do microneedling. It just literally, you can see the skin respond so much better. And then you can do it again. That's the best thing. You can do it literally before you do your treatment. You can do it right after you do your treatment, and you can do it at home while you're recovering from your procedure. So it's just really optimizing that skin's hydration, oxygen into the skin, and really helping that waste removal process.
You're right. Carboxy therapy, from the reviews and the peer reviews I've read, is a favorite practitioner go-to treatment to reverse damage, accelerate healing, and keep patients' skin very healthy. You're spot on. Now, in your experience, what are the key considerations when combining medical aesthetic treatments and traditional skincare practices for optimal results?
Yeah, combining the two is super important because you're going to be able to optimize those results, and you want to make sure that you're also taking care of the skin inside and out, right? So we want to make sure that we're starting with healthy skin before we're doing more ablative and medical procedures. And when you're using things like carboxy therapy, all you're going to do is truly just enhance. There's no contraindications. You can use it on anyone. I mean, my son, he got a really bad cut on his face. We used it on him. I mean, you can use it on truly any and everybody. So many will use it after surgeries as well, which is another amazing point to help with that scar revision and helping really with the tissue of the scarring. And there's just so many ways that you can use this procedure and this product at home and clinic. I mean, it's just so versatile.
Without a doubt, it's definitely very versatile. Now, the CO2 Lift Pro, if you look at their product line, is the strongest version of carboxy gel, and it's an in-office or at-home treatment that delivers the CO2 cutaneously over 45 minutes to an hour. But it's a transdermal, non-invasive facial mask. For those of you listening and wondering what the application here is, really the base of this product is a facial mask, and it's recommended for post-procedure care after invasive procedures such as needling or laser. But then they also have the vaginal rejuvenation treatment. And of course, if you can use this on diabetic ulcers and open wounds, then you better, you better feel comfortable enough that it's going to be great for your face. Now, Savannah, as someone with a substantial following on Instagram and a podcast, how do you use your social media and content creation to educate and engage your audience on skincare topics?
Yeah, so skincare is a part of my day-to-day life. I do, my skincare every morning and night. So I really just combine it with my social media. So if I'm about to wash my face, I'm going to film it. If I'm about to do a treatment on myself, I film it so that I can share that knowledge and share how I do it. Because I think the biggest thing for people is they want to see it in real time. Like, how are you doing this? A lot of people just post a picture of a product and, write all the information about it. And that's great. But I think for a lot of people, they're visual learners. And once they can see a professional applying a product the correct way, how many pumps to use, how to apply it, all of the just inner workings of that treatment, it just makes it more tangible and easier for them to feel less intimidated to attempt to do it at home, especially when it's something that is able to be done by yourself at home, like carboxy therapy with the CO2 Pro Lift mask.
You are so on it. Now, we've gotten through all the heavy lifting. Let's chat your personal favorite. So, the holiday season is here. We are going to be traveling, whether we're traveling for family or whether we're traveling for business, whether we're traveling solo or with kids in tow. What is your top 3 go-to absolute must-haves that you're going to travel with product-wise?
Definitely my CO2 lift mask, because it's just going to make you look so good for the holidays. It's going to help increase that skin's hydration, smooth those fine lines and wrinkles. I mean, it is just a pick-me-up, and you can do it every week for 3 weeks for best results, but I do mine more than once a week because I just love the way it makes my skin feel. I would say my second favorite would have to be the Hyacinth Active Spray. It's a hypochlorous acid spray that helps kill bad bacteria. So really great for when you're traveling and just trying to refresh your skin at the airport or the airplane to get that bacteria away, and great for toddlers if they get any scratches or cuts. I always say I wish my parents had this back in the day instead of pouring hydrogen peroxide all over my cuts and wounds, because this doesn't burn. It's as strong as bleach but as gentle as water. And then my number 3, I would have to say, would be an eye cream, especially during the holidays, working long hours, trying to make everyone else beautiful. I definitely get those dark circles. So an eye cream is my go-to, and my favorite would be the Interfuse Eye from Skin Better.
Boom. Look at you. You're just like the encyclopedia here of skincare. We are out of time. I want to thank you so much for coming on. Your knowledge is so well received, and I love chatting with you because, hey, we all know enough to know that we don't know everything. We rely on experts like you to teach us the best ways to go about caring for our skin and making sure that we're looking fabulous and radiant. So thank you so much, Savannah.
Thank you. It was amazing. Thank you guys so much.
That was Savannah Boda, a licensed medical esthetician and acne specialist based in Dallas, Texas. You could head directly to her website at savannahboda.com, or you could check her out on the gram at the Dallas Esthetician. That was our Going Deep segment brought to you by CO2 Lift. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by CO2 Lift. As we age, our skin loses moisture and elasticity, causing wrinkled skin. You can reverse this aging process with CO2 Lift. CO2 Lift utilizes the powerful benefits of carbon dioxide to lift, tighten, and regenerate your skin. This simple, painless at-home carboxy therapy treatment is scientifically proven to reverse the aging process. You will see reduction in wrinkles, increase in luminosity, and improve pigmentation, sagging, skin tone, and radiance. For more information or to order CO2 Lift, go to co2lift.com.
Welcome back to America's favorite pharmacist segment, brought to you by our friends over at Bioptimizers. On A Moment of Zen, 710 WOR, voice of New York, iHeart Radio. I'm Philip Cowley, pharmaceutical expert, and today we'll be chatting about sleep and how to find more of it. Sleep's one of those things that I think eludes most Americans. I started when I was about 8 years old. My parents would turn on MASH, and I knew at the end of that, when that song started to play, the house would go quiet, and I'd be up alone. And as an 8-year-old, there was nothing more terrifying than being up all night all by yourself. So when I went into the pharmacy, the first thing I wanted to figure out was how to sleep. And I found out pretty rapidly that it's really tough to find, even when you know all the medications to take and all the natural stuff to take. But we're going to go through them today to help you be educated so you can choose. So you won't have to worry about the next time that the MASH song plays, and as an 8-year-old, you're sitting quietly in the dark thinking, oh no, I will never ever go to sleep. I always tell everybody to start out with magnesium. Magnesium is super cool stuff, and half of America doesn't absorb enough magnesium in order to complete everything we need with it. Now, magnesium is essential in producing GABA. Gamma butyric acid is one of the most important neurotransmitters that we have. And that's because it's our main inhibitory neurotransmitter, meaning it's the thing that tells your brain it's okay, you can start to go to sleep now. But when we have not enough magnesium, especially when we take it in forms that are harder to take, that's the reason why I do like the Bioptimizer's total magnesium, because you get a little bit of every kind of magnesium. So you absorb it at the top of the GI system all the way down to the bottom. That helps us produce more GABA. The more GABA that you produce, the more likely you are to go to sleep. So before you reach for anything else, magnesium. And really, 50% of us don't have enough magnesium. Second thing you can reach for is all the products that have PM in them. Now, PM products have one ingredient. They look different, but they're the same thing. Every one of them has diphenhydramine in them. Now, all the Tylenol PM, your ibuprofen PM, all of them have a few side effects along with them, but they do help. So with an antihistamine, it blocks both the H1 and H2 receptors. Now, histamine is one of those things that makes us alert, get up and go. It's the fight or flight thing. And it's so we can get out of situations. When you block it, the opposite happens. You get groggy, your brain slows down, and you're able to knock out some of that stuff that we call sleep anxiety. If you have issues with your prostate or constipation or dry mouth, it's going to lead to more problems. So it's good occasionally, but you don't want to use it all the time. And then finally, we want to look at magnolia root. Now, I love magnolia root because magnolia root works very similar to ways that some of your more prescription items do. It helps open up the channel of the GABA, not just produce more of it, which helps you sleep even more. So as you go out there looking for sleep remedies, those are my three favorite. That's where I would start. This is Phil Kaylee, pharmaceutical expert, and that was America's Favorite Pharmacist segment, brought to you by Bioptimizers. You're listening to A Moment of Zen, here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio, and we'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Your Home TV.
Hi, this is Kathy Ireland here on A Moment of Zen, brought to you by Your Home TV. We've developed an all-inclusive subscription-free network that you're going to love, whether it's financial freedom, fashion, beauty, health and wellness, wonderful weddings, travel and culture, cooking, entertainment, and short-form documentaries, programming for everyone. Classic films and new shows, including Kathy Ireland Presents American Dreams. We've developed this network just for you. Please check out yourhometv.com.
Tune in to A Moment of Zen, Saturday nights from 9 to 10 p.m. on WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio.
Well, that's a wrap, my dear friends. Remember to join me right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, every Saturday night from 9 to 10 p.m. Or you could head to 710WOR.iHeart.com/A Moment of Zen. Also remember that we're live on Traverse TV Sundays at 1 p.m. Eastern. We're on YouTube Sundays at 2 p.m. Eastern. All episodes of A Moment of Zen are available on Kathy Ireland's Your Home TV streaming platform. You could head directly to mox.yourhometv.com. Thank you for listening to A Moment of Zen. It's been an absolute pleasure being your host. Thanks again to all of our sponsors that continue to make this show possible. And remember that happiness is the only thing that multiplies when you share it. A big shout out to our newest sponsors, CO2 Lift, Once Upon a Coconut, and America's Favorite Pharmacist. We'll see you next week.